Hey, I'm live. Wow. I had to do this. This is for history, I guess. Uh, just so that when people look back, they can say that I spoke out anyway. I tried my best. I said something. I don't want the future to look back and say, geez, that guy was just an idiot and he ruined half his life and didn't really make any changes or do anything to prove better anymore. Just a selfish old dog. I don't want to be remembered like that. But I hate lies and I like truth. And I'm addicted to history and culture and things like that that are important, family and heritage, and, identity, and human rights, and constitutional law. I don't like slavery. I don't like any kind of violence against any human being. I don't support any ideologies or systems that commit violent acts on any human being. And I'm doing my best to try to get away from that. So I'm not a free man. I'm not a sovereign man. I'm just a man. And I learned in order to be human and break away, you got to get rid of a lot of labels. So I'm coming at you as just a human being, just a man. And there's some things I want to say. Uh, I was born in on an island here on Earth, and some men gave it the name Newfoundland a long, long time ago. Those men they came from England, and we were brought up uh, in a culture that was very English, very Protestant. When I learned about anything that was French or Roman, and I'm not or Catholic, and I have nothing against any of that. It's no different than Protestant or English or any of that. Please don't take it in a negative concept. But I want to share something with you. The Pope does not tell the Russian Pope how to I don't know, shepherd his sheep, I guess, if you want to say it. I would preach to his people. Or that the Russian people should have to act like the Roman people do in Italy under the Pope. Two different popes, two different jurisdictions, and they're able to get along, even though they have a lot of similar beliefs, but some that are not. And they've learned to be okay to agree not to agree, kind of thing, I guess, or whatever you want to say, like educated men, we call it conflict interest resolution, I think, is the course you take. But anyway, let's get something serious here. I want to get to this human thing, this thing that most of us have forgotten. Um, a human being is not the same as a person. A human being is alive. It's not dead. And it can't be put on a piece of paper. It can't be made by symbols or like it's just so weird, and it can't be labeled. Uh, Once you've been given that one label, Homo sapien, human, there is no other labels to go on you. And if you're wearing other labels, there's because of the education system that you've been given. A lot of people don't understand that a name is not a man or a woman. A name is a pronoun, and you are not a pronoun. Also, a name can be used by many different people unless it's incorporated. And you'll see that in your own name. My name is Todd. They say I don't own it. I don't want it really. Mother gave it to me. I kind of like wash it away. I don't take ownership for it because it's nothing but trouble. And it took me a lot of years to realize that. It was better if I didn't own any names at all. Or if I was going to claim the name, I would claim it in full. And that would mean I'd be getting a check every month, which I'm not. So let someone else deal with that. There's like four Todds around here. They don't pay me no money. So how the hell do I own a name? But for some reason, people try to stick it on me, force it on me, use it so they can rob me of my money, rob me of my rights. And they've convinced people that that's okay here in this wonderful land of ours. The men and women that started this land believed in human rights. Okay, there was wars and there was lots of debt and pain and destruction over many, many years in Europe before this continent was ever settled by anyone. And they came to conclusions on how we could get together and how we could live together peacefully. And that's why Eleanor Roosevelt got together and created this thing called the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Now, governments, they don't really care, and they say, well, we don't sign on that shit. But who is the government to say fucking anything? If they didn't have their guns and they didn't have the fools that pay them and obey them, they'd be nobody. There's no such thing as government. They're just a bunch of men and women. They're just humans. And for you to believe that any human being can be given special powers, authorities that can take away people's rights, violate them, rob them of their property, of their material wealth, their possessions, their children, or whatever, in the guise of that we're government and we wrote this on a piece of paper, you're a fucking fool. Excuse my language. Oops. I forgot. It's to get censored. I better watch it. Duck and duck and do. I don't know. I don't even know how to talk here. But we need to wake up. If you own yourself and you believe that no one has a right to tell you what you can put in your body, you should not be supporting a system that forces other people or punishes other people for putting things in their bodies. That's a bit hypocritical, don't you think? And the word crime, for all of you that graduated from high school, needs a victim. And somehow in Canada, the word crime got changed to you don't need to destroy anyone's property, violate anyone's human rights. You don't have to harm anybody. You just have to say a word or run too fast. Just break a rule. There is no law in Canada. Law disappeared a long time ago. And unfortunately, because there are so many people that don't know the law, they assume that anything that a man writes down on a piece of paper is law. But Canada has never written any law, even from its conception. And this is what freaks me out about people that are supposed to be educated here and they don't have no history of this little young country that was robbed. Basically, the native people owned it. And the English didn't like that idea, I guess, and they had bigger guns. So here we are. But if you're living in Canada or the United States, you're supposed to be living on land under what's called common law. There's no such thing as a Roman Englishman. There is no such thing as a Catholic Englishman. There is no such thing as a French Englishman. I don't know why when immigrants come here from other countries, I'm not going to call them immigrants, when humans come here from other places unhurt, that they don't check into our history. We have a different history and a different culture here in Canada and in North America than all over the world. And it was based on our constitutions. Our constitutions that the people of this land fought for and died for. Not the rules and regulations and hacks and stats that are made by idiot men and women that are elected to go in and administrate a business called Canada and rule you to serve. A long time ago, after the First World War, Canada went bankrupt, and then it went bankrupt again sometime in the 30s, maybe, and a dirty dirty time, and then boom, in 2009, Canada went bankrupt for the last time. And from that day on, Canada will always be a corporation. It was created as a corporation in 1940. I'm going to say the end of the war was 45, I think. So that's when the Rothschild Bank would have taken over Canada and all its monetary system. But now what we've done is, and this is for Newfoundlanders especially, a lot of Newfoundlanders work in Alberta in the oil fields. There's a lot of money made from oil offshore here in Newfoundland. Now, we don't see much, of course, because it's taxed to debt, and our foolish Newfoundland politicians that nobody seems to really care about what they do here. Unfortunately, they get away with everything. Sold out most of that stuff away from us a long time ago, and it don't make sense. We were doing pretty good after the First World War as a country, Newfoundland, and we're actually one of the most prosperous places around North America. Our economies were growing and people were doing good. But going to war and fighting with the English bankrupt us. Nobody wanted to help us. England left us to dry. And we ended up being conned into bonding with Canada, which was the worst mistake that ever happened to Newfoundland because Newfoundland was never, how do you put it, Canadian in any way. And we've always had our own culture, our own identity, our own belief. This land here, if you believe in our Queen, is governed on common law. Our rights came from England, and our rights are given to us by birth. They're not given to us by the Canadian government or the Newfoundland government. Governments are created by people, so governments do not have rights, and they do not have privileges or any kind of special powers to rule people. They're there to protect my rights and my liberties. And once they start making money from my rights and my liberties and turning me into a slave, the government has no necessity at all for me. And why would I want to enter into a society like that in the first place? Unless I didn't know. And that's what most of us happened here in Newfoundland. We didn't know when we were joining Canada that we were going to be suckered. We didn't know that our children would be robbed for future generations to come because so much debt would be created that no matter next year's children or the next year's children after that here on the island, they will all be born in debt. And we definitely didn't know that we'd be working all our lives in debt. Um, we didn't know when we got that birth certificate that we were actually turning ourselves into slaves. We didn't know. No one told us about those things in school. Nobody taught us how to run a business in school. They just taught us how to go get a job. And there was a reason for that. And nobody taught us legalese in school. So most of us that ever went to court never had a clue what was being said to us. And a lot of times we spend a lot of money to get these men that are really just ripping us off too. Because if it's a legal case, you don't need no lawyer. Because humans can't be tried in legal court. Only fictions can. Businesses, persons, characters, like actors on a stage, but not live human beings. And second of all, it's not a court, it's a vote, and the high priest is a clerk, and he has no more authority than you. But he knows how to use the words, and the words are the trick, the magic. I believe Newfoundland needs to soon do something before it's too late, and I hope that we can come together. I would like to see our island taken back. I believe that we need to leave Canada. It is time for Newfoundland to become a republic again. Newfoundland has enough gas, water, uh, things that we need, minerals and blah, 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 markets, that with the population that we have, that we could do fine on our own. And I think that we'd be freer. Our children would have a better future. We would live on this land the way our culture was, the way our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers and our great-grandfathers and our great-great-grandfathers did. We wouldn't be living as foreigners, live in a foreign culture, live in a foreign identity, not knowing who we are. I don't like looking at my son and I don't get a chance really often to do that, but when I do, or when I think about my son, I hate that he doesn't know what Newfoundlander is. He doesn't know the history and the culture here. I also don't believe in this idea of teaching our children that you're going to get mad at me for this, but there's only two genders. And if you want to have more than two, go right ahead. I'm not going to argue with you over it, but there's only two genders. You're either a man or a woman when you're born. And I will stick to that until I die. And I also don't agree with the way that you have no problem arresting someone or abusing someone for smoking a joint. Or now, here's the cool thing: uh, put us in jail for smoking joints, and now you sell it to us and make money off us. And Newfies can't even see over that. There's, like it's crazy. We need some real men to run this island. We need to wake up because we're coming to a time where This is going to be like living in, I don't know, North Korea maybe. I've never been to China. I don't believe the news, so I wouldn't be able to say that. Well, I've never been to North Korea either. But think of it this way: a world where your speech is censored, where someone can tell you what to say, a world where you will be governed where you can go and not go, a set amount of where what you can make, and that's it. Not a world where you will never be allowed to own anything, and you will be happy. A world where everyone will spend their time ratting on each other. A world where children will never ever own anything. Where they'll never have a dream to chase unless you're born into the right family or class of people. A world where all you will know is lies. Where truth and questions and thinkers will be not accepted and looked down on. A world where you will hate your neighbor because they don't believe in the same things you do. A world where you will bring violence to anyone you think that doesn't believe in the same things you do. A world that dishonors everything that those men and women that left this shore and died for in the Second World War and the First World War and the wars before that, before this was created in our bloodlines. We come from Europe. We have an identity as a people. We are wonderful human beings. We need to restore human rights and natural law to our land. And we need to kick out this fascism, this ignorance, this total dishonor and disrespect for everyone that ever fought for this island. And for all the people that have suffered and gave everything for this island. Newfoundland was the best place in the world to come visit and to live. It's no longer that way. And there's a reason for that. And it's because our politicians here in Newfoundland, our own people, have sold us out. And they've chased the money. And they forgot about what was more important. But now we're running out of time. So I would ask any father or mother here in Newfoundland, if you ever watch this, maybe you know why we can see it, to look your children in the eyes and explain to them that, do you know that you owe $246,000 and you haven't even got to school yet? Do you know that you can't do the same things that I did when I was a little boy or girl because those freedoms have been removed? Do you know that your older brother last week got arrested for playing hockey on a ice pond? Did you know that a woman came home last night from away work and got locked up in a hotel for 14 days, even though there was nothing wrong with her? And nobody was told about it? Do you know that right now people are starving on our streets and you're more concerned about a disease that has killed less than aspirin? And do you know that at the end of all of this, what's coming? Or are you so asleep to all of this now? My grandfather would have died out there fighting against you. Those men that went to Germany would not have talked to any of you here, especially our politicians. And most of you that vote. To vote for the Liberal, I don't vote. But to vote for a government that wants to get rid of the gas, the jobs, that money that makes this island go, the Alberta jobs. I mean, like, it was, what kind of people are you, Newfoundlanders? Do you know how much money has been brought back from Alberta to this shore? And how much money comes from the oil industry here to help feed people? And you want to go destroy all of that? Why, is he going to die in a couple of years so you just don't care? There's things we could do that are make way more sense than what you're allowing people to do, especially the government. They're a bunch of idiots, and you're an idiot for voting them in. If you can't take care of yourself, how can I trust you to vote someone in to take care of you? And what the hell is this human being asking another human being to take? Didn't you grow up? Rules are for people that are don't know what they're doing. And only slaves need masters. 2021. And we're at a point where we sit around on our ass and we watch what's going on here to our children, our seniors, all the people that are losing their businesses. Here in Newfoundland, we're not hit that hard yet. Or it doesn't look that way, maybe, you know. But believe me, everything that's happening in these cities is going to happen here. And it will be brought here. Maybe we're the last to get it, but we'll get it. And you won't like what's going to come. My greatest pain is that I studied world history and especially world wars. And people out there have no problem slaughtering people. You know, if it for profit, whoa, it's money that you can't imagine. But these billionaires and trillionaires, they can. And bankers see a lot of profit in war. And one of the worst things that ever happened to our human species is that some humans learned how to farm the rest of us. And then anyone that seen what was going on, if they spoke up, they were shunned. Bad slave, bad slave. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is supposed to be Newfoundland. This is supposed to be Canada. I don't know. It's awful shameful. I mean, like for a young place, I don't know. I just never thought this would happen. I worry about the children of this province. I hope that there's a future for our kids. And I don't think there's much of one because I don't think the adults are bright enough or have the balls or courage to stand up for them. And I can't do it alone, but I would give my life for this island if it was the right thing to do. But we need men now more than anything, and good people with morals. And most people can't seem to do that. They don't understand that when you vote, you give someone else fake authority to go rob your neighbor and enslave you down the road. Everybody thinks, well, what happened to my generation? It isn't about whose generation it happens to. You should learn from the people that it did happen to and make sure that it doesn't happen to your generation. And that's the people that have that responsibility, not the phony government, these buildings with people in them. But you've given it all away because you'd rather be a grandmother. I guess you need a grandmother or a grandfather or something. You can't grow up. It's bad. It's I don't know. It breaks my heart because I love people. And there's a lot of good men and women all around this planet that are standing up right now and doing their best. They're going to jail, getting beat up, tased. You know, some are even being killed for our rights and our freedoms. Well, so many are still cowering at home and not doing nothing, not even talking about it. I hope people get this message, and I hope people understand where I'm coming from. I'm a big fan of that Newfoundland should separate from Canada. That we should go back to our old ways and our own culture. And we could create an island here that is beautiful for everybody in the world to come and live or visit, whatever they want to do. And a society where people live side by side in peace, in harmony, where no one is homeless and no one is hungry. And I'm not talking about a world where we have to give handouts, a world of handouts. I don't believe in that. But I believe if we bring dignity back to humans, they won't want handouts anyway. And once they learn that really that it's not a handout, anytime you get a handout from government, you're going to get two back to take double back. They don't give you money for free. If you can find one that did, please email me it. I'll write a book about it or something. I don't get a lot of people on here because I'm not that special. So I stand for human rights. I'm a lay advisor. Uh, I don't pay speeding tickets. I don't hold a driver's license, and I don't have a name. And so a lot of people think I'm weird. I'm just a human, and I've decided to leave the world of fakeness and live in the world of reality, and that one is not nice, and but it's better than a fake one. At least you know where you stand when you wake up in the morning, and you know what you got to fight. Uh, I'm losing a lot of faith in my province or my people, and especially this country. They program the people so much. They don't respect human rights. Like I said, they don't respect our Constitution. There is not a policeman or a judge in this country that respects the Constitution of Canada. Because if he did, not one man or woman would have ever been arrested for a giant weed or a speeding ticket or a driver's license would ever been handed to anyone that didn't get paid to be a driver. There's so much scamming going on and robbing. It's unbelievable. Um, I'm suing RCMP now because they stole my truck on me. They came and stole it. They had no right. I have no contract with motor vehicle registration. So I don't understand how, when not in contract, people can just come take things from me. And I didn't know them anything either. So I did look up the companies and corporations in Newfoundland to see if I've been listed anywhere, and I'm not listed on any of their shareholders or anywhere. So I'm totally zero. I expected that anyway because I've never had a driver's license, so I've never surrendered my right to travel. But the sad thing is that when you don't surrender your right to travel, it's always you always end up, you go good for a while, and maybe after I sue them enough, they'll leave me alone. Who knows? Maybe I need to sue them a dozen times first. But if that's what it takes, that's what I'll do. If I get that opportunity, I don't know what's going to happen now. So, but to all the good men out there in Newfoundland, Labrador, don't vote. To all the good men and women in Newfoundland, Labrador, it's time to separate from Canada. It is time to do something honorable before we all die, so we can at least go down with some respect. And it's time to leave that sinking boat over there called Canada that's bankrupt. It is destroying us. It is destroying our people. We weren't bankrupt when we joined Canada, and we should not be bankrupt now. And it's time to do something for our children. So if you're with me, right on. I'm here. Please come get out to me, whatever, and I'll come back on again later, and I'll do another stream. And hopefully, we'll get some people. Namaste.